Well, welcome to PRT 5410-6410. We have both undergrads and grad students in here. The class is Land and Resource Recreation Planning. So planning is something that we all do, or you wouldn't get here. You wouldn't make it to your screen. So what we'll be looking at is planning from very large scale plans for entire national parks, national forests, all the way down to some pretty small scale planning, looking at small sites. So first I'm going to run through the syllabus with you, see how that goes right here. This is the syllabus that I put up on August 9th. So right up here at the top, my name's Kirk. You can use that name. If we hold class, it'll be in the Stewart 104. It's a very large auditorium set for roughly 100 people, and we have maybe a dozen in this class. So there's quite a bit of room to spread out. And you see that we meet Wednesday afternoons. Office hours, that's something that needs to be changed here, is going to be by email only. And if we need to set up a Zoom, then we certainly can. Okay, most of the beginning of this syllabus is about Canvas stuff, and you should be well informed in that. So I'm going to move a little bit past it. Definitely masks are required. I will let you read through this on your own time. So let's skip down ahead and take a look specifically at this class, this calendar. So right here, I'm seeing at the top, things they're covering today, purchasing the book Stewards of Access, Custodians of Choice, and I'll describe later what I mean by the 15 propositions. We'll divide the book up so that not everybody's writing propositions about the same chapter, and spread you out a little bit that way. That discussion doesn't happen until September 23rd, so you do have time to order that book. I believe all the rest of the readings are on Canvas under files for this class. So you'll find them there. I believe Canvas organizes them alphabetically, so you do have to do a little bit of searching. And the order of the reading will always be here in the syllabus. So next time we talk about ecosystem management versus resource management. And September 9th, we're going to meet in City Creek. That's about 4 miles from campus, fairly easy to get there, 20 minutes on a bicycle. Certainly you can drive there. The closest a bus gets you is about a mile away. So from there, all around that hospital are a lot of the electric scooters if you ever want to rent one of those for the last mile to the site. The week after that, these are the 3 weeks that I really wanted to have in person. So meeting out there in the field where we can spread out easily. And then we come back and discuss and organize and put together a plan the following week. Certainly we can do that in Zoom. It's going to be easier if we can be in a classroom. And then September 23rd, we will be discussing the book Stewards of Access, Custodians of Choice, written by our own professor, Dan Dustin. So I will explain, and it's probably explained in Canvas under assignments. If not, that's where I will place it. Then moving on, we're going to look at what the National Park Service does. So this is a big, broad plan for their planning. And then we go into more generalized planning through Dahl's book, which I've got for you to read in Canvas. Then to introduce the National Environmental Policy Act, NEPA and planning overlap so much it's hard to separate the two. So we've got some readings for that. Also there on October 1st, I hand out a midterm that you write at home. Then we get to NEPA itself on October 21st and again on the 28th. And the 4th is a quiz on NEPA that I will do in class. And if we're not meeting in class at that time, then we will have a timed exam during class period. As far as guest speakers go, I haven't even called them yet. So in the past, Ben and Roxanne have been able to work out something, not knowing whether we'll be on campus or not. Both of them, Ben was a master's student here, and then Roxanne was an environmental studies student here, getting to be a while ago for both of those. Ray Kelsey was a student too. He's also a BLM planner that's spoken to the class. The week of Thanksgiving, even though this is a Wednesday class, I have learned long ago to not hold class that Wednesday. Nobody shows up, or one shows up. So that we're not meeting that week. Final projects, undergrads, you just turn it in electronically. We have 4 grad students right now, and their project, rather than turning it in on paper, which they will also do, they also have to put together a PowerPoint that by that time of the year, we will definitely be online, off in person. And so they'll turn theirs in, and I'll put them up in a manner that you can, so that everybody can watch them. So moving down the syllabus here a little ways, looking at course requirements, you can see there's going to be a midterm that is a take-home and a quiz that's timed. If we're in class, we'll have it in class. Otherwise, it'll be on Canvas. And attending class, if we're holding class, is very, very helpful to you. There are 4 outside assignments and the take-home exam, for which you do have to turn in your writing and upper college level writing. I should be in files an APA guide to writing that will help you. The writing that we do in this class is report writing, so it's never a personal narrative unless I ask for it. Even the first one, I'm not really looking for a personal narrative. So that first assignment is an observation report. A lot of students really like this one. What you'll be doing is choosing a place. You'll go out there and go out there several times for an hour at a time. You're looking for a really busy time and a really slow time, so that you can see some differences in people's behavior. And your report will be answering these questions of what do people do in natural recreation areas? How do they interact with others in their group? How do they interact with others outside their group? And what are they doing to adapt to their surroundings? Or some people adapt the surroundings to themselves. I've certainly seen people in campgrounds rip out whole bushes just so they can fit their tent in the special spot they wanted, even though there's plenty of room for it somewhere else. Okay, so remember, these are reports. These are not personal narratives. And yeah, I've not corrected the due dates, so you will need to look on Canvas for sure on that under assignments. Okay, I've slid farther down on the syllabus. Looking at grading, you've got an observation report. You've got a SWOT analysis that's independent of the one we do in class on the field. So the one we do together is pretty much just training for doing it on your own in another place. The NEPA quiz I've already mentioned, the midterms to take home, so I've mentioned that. A big part of this class is the FLPMA assignment. That's well explained, and I have to divide that up so that not everybody's doing the same parts of FLPMA. So that's in the assignment section. And you're also doing a site evaluation based on the DAL readings that you'll be doing. So there you have the quick explanation, description of what's going on in this course, and a quick look at the syllabus. Certainly read it thoroughly end to end. And well, welcome to PRT 5410-6410. I'd like to go over the assignments for you with this class. So let's go ahead and head over to observation reports, which begins right now. So you're going out to a busy natural place, hopefully a picnic ground, a trailhead. If you have to go to a local park, you may. It'd be better, though, if it were a more natural place. And these are the 4 questions that you're going to be answering. And they are, I mentioned them earlier, what do people do in natural recreation areas? So you would answer that. 2, for each of these time periods. 2, how do they interact with others in their group? How do people interact with others outside their group? And how do they adapt to their surroundings or adapt their surroundings to them? So yes, I am asking you to be discreet. You're going to be writing a 3 to 5 page paper and organize it. One of the things I want you to get out of my classes is that you organize reports using lots of titles and subtitles, which allow readers to go through later and search, so they don't have to read every paragraph if they can just read your titles and they're only after one certain thing. It's a form of keyword searching on paper. Okay, it's not a personal narrative to make sure you're using formal writing. So then I give you some advice here on organizing your report, so that I'm going to let you work through on your own. Let's switch now back to assignments and stewards of access reading assignment. So this, I rewrote this just a little bit. I'm going to let you mostly read it, but you do need to get a hold of the book. And just for clarity, I'm going to go through this. Everybody reads Dedication, Preference, Introduction, Part 1, that has 3 chapters. And out of that, you will write 5 propositions. I'll describe propositions for some of you that haven't been in my classes. Okay, Part 2 is divided again, and some of you will be assigned Chapter 4, the worth ethics for parks, some for 5, some for 6. And out of the chapter that you're assigned, you're to write and turn in, and if we are holding class, you'll bring those 10 propositions to class. Then everybody reads Chapter 7 and writes 2 propositions out of that chapter. So if you have not been in my classes down here, about writing propositions goes into more detail. I'll let you read those. Typically what they are is you're guessing, sometimes the author will even write it that way, as a proposition that if under these conditions, then we expect this result. So here's how I've divided it out. Of those chapters that only a few of you write, looking at the roll today, Chapter 4 is assigned to Brinkley, Labonte, Stark, and Bussell. Those for Chapter 5 are Bronson, Murdoch, and Couch, and Chapter 6 is assigned out to Quick, Meadows, and Potter. So we'll see how that falls out as the semester keeps going. So there's a little bit more on writing propositions. I'll let you read that. Next is the SWOT assignment that starts in a couple of weeks, so I'm not too worried about you understanding this right now. We will meet and go over it. So we will go over it in City Creek, which is why you have to pick a different one. This can be the same place that you did your observations at, or you might choose to go to a different place because you want to learn more about different places. So because we'll be doing this together, I'm not going to spend time right now on that SWOT assignment. The first 2 have already begun. This one's coming up. And the third assignment, it's funny numbering because it actually begins today too, but it's turned in 3rd. So this is a big assignment, and it is about FLPMA. I skipped the others, which is the Federal Lands Policy and Management Act. I chose not to confuse it because we've got a small class with those others. So I think this is a big enough assignment. But you're going to be going to and reading that act, and this is pretty well explained. Once again, though, it is split up. Everybody reads certain parts of it and writes about that, and then I split you out again with the different subsections of the act. There are more subsections than this. These are the ones that apply to us in recreation a lot more. So here are researching your topics, writing your reports, documentation, all of that. And then this is the breakdown. So of those subsections, Brinkley and Bronson gets 1712 land use plans, so on and so forth. You can read on down through that. So I'm assigning it now. It is a major project. Anything over 10 pages, you also need a table of contents and lots of organization with titles and subtitles. And remember, once again, this is not a personal narrative. This is a report. When you read this act, you'll see what a report looks like. There's nothing personal narrative about it. Okay, let's go back, see what else is in here. You're going to be doing a site evaluation. This starts in a couple of weeks too. So we've got a while. I don't really need to go over this with you, except that it is a big writing project. And then we will, one of our class sessions, spend our time looking at plan evaluation in DAL, and we'll use that very directly. You'll go through all of the steps from DAL on a site. And once again, your site can be the same, or you can go learn about a new site. For graduate students down here at the bottom, normally we would just have you bring your PowerPoint to class, but that's not possible. We will be off campus, everyone, by the end of the semester. So you are going to be converting you're going to have to do an animated, narrated, illustrated PowerPoint presentation. That's the most likely way you'll do it. I'll be surprised if any of you want to take your camera out there and walk through it in 10 minutes. So PowerPoint's usually the easier way to go. And when you save a PowerPoint, if you look down through your choices of how to save it, one of them is an MP4 video. So I found that is a much more functional, shareable form than an animated PowerPoint, because I've had animated PowerPoints lose their video or their audio before. So you don't want to have that happen to you. Save it both as a narrated animated PowerPoint and then immediately save it. In fact, I saved mine as an MP4 first. It just seems to be a more stable environment. Okay, so that's looking at site evaluation. There are a couple more things here. Midterm is a take-home. We'll take care of that as we get there. NEPA is hopefully an in-class quiz. If not, it'll be during class time on a limited period of time. This creature, this room of requirement for late assignments, is just if you miss not just the due date, but the acceptance date, which is usually 1 to 2 days later. I have created this spot where you can turn in late assignments. It doesn't mean that I will accept them. Make sure it's really clear in the title that you're turning in that I know which assignment it is due for. So if you were turning in the SWAT late, make sure the title that you turn in here that I see says SWAT, so I know which one it is, or assignment 3 or 4, whatever way you can indicate it. So that's the list of assignments for this class.